Hello, tribe. Here's your friendly neighborhood Tiger and your friendly neighborhood Divine, bringing you chaos, mayhem, and a lot of good music and love. I'm going to bring out the disclaimer as always. This is not a show for children. Please duct tape them to the wall, plug their ears, all that good stuff. Since we do discuss adult themed um, things and also curse and, are entirely inappropriate. Anything said on the show is the responsibility of Divine and myself and our guests, and has nothing to do with the parent platform mspwaves.com. Okay, so Divine, who do we have today?
Hello, first of all. Hello, everybody out there. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a very special guest. It's Chris Inperspective from Inperspective Records, one of my favorite record labels. So it's a real honor to have you on, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I really loved the conversation going on we had in the prior.
Yeah, we were in sound check. We were in sound check, and what we were doing is we were talking about actually whether or not
What today's show was about fisting.
What fisting? What?
I'm sorry, I'm reading
No.
Robin. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, I didn't
Oh my
mention
goodness!
fisting, no.
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 This is because we're cussing and we're talking about weird things. I don't know what. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so someone watched too much porn last night. Okay, Rondon. Okay, bringing it back home. Bringing it back home. Okay, so what we were
Oh my gosh.
what we were discussing in
during the show. Okay.
in the sound check was why there are a few women in drum and bass. Which our guest
producing.
Sorry,
I need to make that clear. Yeah.
Okay, so and by the way, the man speaking right now is Chris Walton of Inperspective Records. So which we haven't. Let's introduce you. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Most people know me. Well, most people know me as Chris Inperspective, Tiger. But Chris Walton is my real name, if you must know it. It's just something that's been bugging me for a number of years now, and I'm sure there are many women producers out there who are pushing and striving and doing what they can, but I'm just surprised that even in the advent of the Me Too movement and the calls for increased diversity and everything in as far as gender is concerned, that there just aren't more and more haven't come out. And when I've spoken to women DJs, a lot of them don't want to make that transition into producing, and I'm trying to work out if there's a way that it can be made more accessible or made more made easier, really, to be quite blunt, for more women to get into production. That's my main concern.
Yeah, when we were talking in the audience, I said that it was a thing about society and patriarchy and whatnot, but let's say society at whole, because let's not give that whole patriarchy thing too much energy. But it's because society tells girls, do not do this, do not do that, and then you have the occasional few that are stubborn. Now, to answer your question, how to change that is find the stubborn girls and bring them more into the foreground, because the more role models girls have, then they suddenly think we can do it too. That's what you have to do. You need to find the stubborn ones.
If they're already, but you see, my question was more pointed than that, because obviously they've gone past that point because they're DJing. Some of them DJing in front of people, and happily so. But when we spoke in the warm up, I said, if you took 50 male DJs, 30 or maybe even 40 of them would have attempted, say, over a 5-year period, at least to try to make some music. A lot of the MCs I know now are trying to make music, male MCs. But what I'm saying is, when I speak to women DJs, there doesn't seem to be that same transition. I'm just trying to work out, is it something to do with the software we're using? Is it, because the patriarchy isn't stopping them become DJs because they're already DJs. But to make that transition into production,
because there's a ton of women that are already DJs. There are already a ton of women that are DJs, so they think that's fine, and they don't get as much pushback. But at this point, it's like wilting flowers. It's like you keep on. It's like the little girl that shows their painting to the dad, and it's maybe of a robot, and the dad says, "Oh, why don't you paint something friendlier than the shooting robot?" And then at some point, the little girl doesn't want to bring it in the foreground anymore, and that transitions into the girl thinking, I guess, well, if I'm going to try it, the boys are going to make fun of me, or no one's ever going to listen to it, or why even try? That's the whole thing. So that's like, and that's the more people do it, the more suddenly the girls think, hey, there are other people out there that are actually doing it. It's the same thing with years ago, a lot of women didn't become engineers. Now you have a lot of women engineers because there were the stubborn ones there that then suddenly girls could aspire and say, hey, she does it, I can do it too. No, granddad and dad and mom be damned, I'm gonna do it. And it's so create the opportunity and they will come.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I hope you're right. I think there's, you see, a former partner of mine, who's a professor, sorry, lecturer, sorry, at universities in London. She's always discussed about how education is really important, like in terms of how when you're looking for people to get into a certain field, that education is one of the most primary functions. And is it, should we be looking to the school audio engineering schools and places like that to try and say, look, hey, this is something for you, this is something that you could be doing. Is I'm just wondering if it's a solution, because the thing is,
It
me and
starts a lot
my
earlier.
team, well,
It starts a lot
maybe,
earlier.
but if I may,
Yeah.
so the team and I were speaking, and on In Perspective, obviously there's no female producers, right? So it's a conversation me and Manvir, my label manager for In Perspective, we'll be discussing. And now the thing is, I don't want to just put a female producer on for the sake of it being a female producer. No woman wants that. No one wants tokenism. No one likes that. No one wants that. However, there's just no pool of women to pull from, especially if you're doing a little bit more of experimental left field label. And that's one of the frustrations I've had, because for the length of time, In Perspective is going to be 25 years next year. And I find it really frustrating that in that entire time that I haven't been able to sign a woman. But at the same time, I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful that the next year or 18 months might bear fruit. And this is why I just wanted to have the especially with you two, because both of you have shown and you told me that you both I don't know your work so much, Tiger, but I know, Denise, you've been producing and doing all sorts for years. And so I'm just thinking, if you've managed to accomplish that goal, I'm just thinking, why is it you're so few and far between? Because you also are on that sort of more left field thing with us. So maybe I should just sign you. But what I'm saying is, like, it's
Yeah, so to answer two things. Okay, so the one thing that you say, how can I get girls interested? Be creative. Go and do a contest. We're looking for the best new female drum and bass, whatever. Make a nice prize out there and see who shows up, because the girls that are interested, who might be, hiding somewhere, might say, oh, I have to try this. I have to see if I can get myself out there. So, like, lure them out with cheese. And then when I was saying when it comes to education, that it starts much earlier, it's like, when you like science as a kid, like, I'd be doing the whole biology thing and the girls would be saying, ooh, ew, ew, why do you even like that? Because they've been taught that. So what you do is you just make sure that kids are also like, that there's a gender neutral, school shit. So, like, the boys have to cook and the girls also have to go into science, and it's equally available for both, so that the boys that would actually like to do the more female stuff are actually allowed to do it as well, and that will change things around.
As an ex-chef, I repute your boys have to cook comment, because I don't know a single woman in my 20-something odd years of dating that could. Every single woman I've dated hasn't been able to cook in my. You know what I mean? So, and I know loads of men that absolutely love chefing and cooking and stuff. So I think that particular kitchen thing You know, that
Well,
one. I think that's a dead.
I mean when it comes to school things, you know, at least when I was still went to school, you had like
Yeah,
the girls had to go into the cooking class, and the boys were allowed to do
yeah.
do
Woodwork.
woodwork, and it's like
Yes,
I wanted to do
we're a
woodwork.
different.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
so
love
so
cooking. Don't get me wrong, I can actually cook and bake and all that, but I
Yeah,
wanted to do the woodworking. I wanted to do the engineering. I wanted to do
sure.
whatever. Like one of the things that I used to do was sculptures that basically were mechanical, and they made sound, and they worked with
Mm.
wind and water and things like that to produce sound, and and but I had to self teach myself because I had to go to cooking class. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
So
Like
it sounds like so. Where did you go to school, Tiger?
all over the world. So from
Okay, so I mean, go on, but can you
Germany,
be a bit more specific?
Germany, America, Jamaica, India, all over the place. So different kind of school systems all over the place, but mostly Europe. So
Mostly Europe, yeah. So I mean, I can't, that's been your experience, and you know, we're of a different generation than the kids now. I don't think in the academies and schools now, boys are being told they have to go to woodwork class and girls are being told. I don't think that's happening now. Um, and if it is, that's worrying. But I doubt very much that's happening in probably any school in the Western world right now.
I
I
think
would
it
argue.
depends
So
what kind of schools. Like a lot of the traditional Catholic schools still do it, and I was in a lot of
my
those.
son's school is
So
a Catholic. My son's school's a Catholic school, and it doesn't do that. It
ah,
doesn't do that.
brilliant. Okay, so they've
Yeah,
changed. That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. And so I just think that there's, it's like what I was saying to you again in the warm up about how, I want, the race conversation to happen. For me personally, is that I want to get away from us being the whipping boys of society, quite literally at one stage the whipping boys of society as black people or as black men particularly, um, to actually being kings and queens. And I kind of, that's one of the reasons why I didn't get entirely on board with the concept of Black Lives Matter, because I understand that it had to be said, and I wasn't saying all lives matter. I wasn't one of those idiots. I understand what it had to be said, but from my own perspective, it made us feel like we're now they're there, black people, yeah, rather than something that we should be, that other people should be lauding and kind of sort of say, well, look at the contributions that black people have made to society. This is why they shouldn't be treated that way. But instead, it was like, well, we're being systematically murdered in the streets. It's like, well, I didn't like that idea. I don't like the idea that my son learns that he's an easy target. I want him to learn that he could be a future president or a future leader.
All right, I don't know where
So
you're living right now. Okay, but
I live in London.
I live here in America in the South, and I am mortally
Yeah,
afraid for my grandchildren who are black, and
yeah,
like I learned how different it is. I mean, I know that England has its own issues when it comes to this, but the US is riddled to the core with racism, and literally,
oh,
people are getting murdered here. I've seen it
yeah.
with my own eyes. I live in a black neighborhood. I see how the police, it's like I'm afraid to call the cops on idiots here because I'm afraid they're going to get killed. Okay, so I usually handle it all myself. Like when my neighbor stole my shit and I had her drag it over, because I was deathly afraid if I call the cops, they will shoot her dead. That's how bad it
okay,
is. Okay, so
okay.
it's nuclear here.
That's yeah, that's not what I'm talking about though. I'm talking about how we look at each other in society as a role. You're talking about the practical applications of where you live
No,
and the
but the thing
results
is, you
thereof.
have to tell
But
your kids here, because the thing is, where
I, I, I
if
have to tell my son here too. But at the same time, I'm going to tell him that he can do anything he wants and that he's not just a victim.
no, of course
That's
not.
the
But
thing. Yeah.
the thing is, I mean, literally here you have to
and
do
I, and
the
actually I have a problem with if I'm going to be really blunt, I have a problem with white people perpetuating the idea that all we are victims.
No,
I'm sick of it, to be honest,
I'm not
Tiger.
saying that. I'm
Yeah,
just, I
yeah,
watch the kids around here, and there's a difference. If you have a 15-year-old white kid that will kick a trash can around here, nothing's going to
mm,
happen to him. You have a 15-year-old black kid that does it, he might end up dead. That's the reality of it. I'm mortally
mm.
afraid for my grandkids. I want to get them out of this
God,
country as quick as possible.
my question would be is why haven't we got something for those kids to do rather than kick trash cans?
Because
That would always be my question.
because America doesn't take care of their people, because there's no
Maybe.
schooling, because they have weird laws where like black neighborhoods are underfunded, and they do that on purpose, so their schools are
Mm,
underfunded, and it's
mm,
ridiculous. It's literally systemic racism here. It's not like,
Right.
in the UK, yes, you do have issues, but you don't have that, like schools that are specifically for black neighborhoods, and they get, let's just, excuse me, you two, sorry, those are dogs. They don't get, purposely underfunded and things like that, which they do here, sadly, you know.
mm,
It's crazy. It's
mm,
America,
yeah.
The son lives there. He lives in Portland, and not this doesn't only hit the black people, but he says right now, and with even this COVID, just think about like this. People who even white people are in tents right now. They don't care about these
Mm,
people. How do you think they care about like people coming, from slaves they put in there? And no, they if they want to buy a house, it's 10 times more say 10 times, but it's a lot of times more expensive for them. They get estimates made that
mm,
aren't like even comparable to what white people would pay. And I
mm.
yeah, schools are underfunded, and they it's oh my gosh, it's sad. They do have to make a living somehow, live off like food stamps and can't really feed families. Um, so yeah, what happens in situations like that? I'm not saying everybody, and it's not like that everywhere. There are places where it's
No,
getting better, but
yeah,
yeah, in a lot of places it's freaking scary, and it's sad, and it's you know um
yeah.
what you
You see,
hear,
I refuse.
how white people speak about, like, black people still is just, like, shocking, I went there
Where,
2010, and everything I did was cry at night because I could not
where was,
understand this. My
where's
my
that?
family Tennessee.
In Tennessee, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing,
it's as I
you know,
said,
what's
the South is worse than the North. But what I do for my grandchildren is I make sure that they get like, because my daughter won't do it, but I like buy books that are like empowering with strong black role models. I try to send them stuff like I'm trying to get my daughter interested into looking into things like Malcolm X and whatnot, because they need this. They need to have this strong mindset to get,
mm,
but the thing is, literally, if I get money at some point, I want to get them out of this country, because literally anyone else, everywhere else, they'll have it a lot easier. Excuse me, sorry, dogs.
In the end,
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
it has gotten better because I saw the change from 2010 to 2000 in
You
2019.
see, this is the
Got it,
thing, and I think
and it is
you see,
changing.
yeah, and that's the thing I want to kind of, I'm not going to stand here and say that it's like, land and milk and honey, but the bottom line is America's a very complex place, and I haven't lived there for any length of time. I've been there significantly. There was one particular long trip that I spent with pretty much 3 months there, and I was in North Carolina, South Carolina, Denver, I was all over McAllen in Texas, and I really, what's really funny, Tiger, I actually really preferred the South than being up north. Now, it might be because I'm just obsessed with barbecue. But the other thing is that I found that it wasn't the conversations I had with people in the South were way more honest and open. And even though there were people that maybe didn't necessarily want me to live next door to them, like I felt at least that was a genuine. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
feel like they
think
were placating it to me and saying, because I find right now that there's a seam of person that wants to say a lot of stuff, but then actually when it comes down to it, you know, is just as scared of a black guy as the racist is. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that people's actions to me that kind of are always going to be more prevalent. And
you know,
I just think
you're
going
not
forwards,
wrong
I just,
that. Sorry.
yeah, sorry, I just feel like going forwards, I just want a more pro-black, for me personally, and actually going back to our original point, pro-woman, kind of idea and sort of ideology, and sort of saying, look, this is how great we can be, and this is what the contribution we can make, rather than sort of be, oh, it's really, really hard for us, and white men are terrible or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I just think that doesn't really get us forwards. I just think we should be focusing on our own shit and making sure that there's progress in those
Making
particular
a better
social
world
groups.
with like
Yeah,
being a good example.
But
Yeah.
the
yeah.
thing is, Black Lives Matters actually did something, because now at least some of those dirty cops are being pulled into the justice system, and they don't get away with it, and they're finally trying to talk about, because there's this stupid law in the US where policemen are not held responsible by law for just killing somebody or
No,
injuring them. They want to get away with
no.
they want to do away with that. That's something that Black Lives Matter did, because after what happened to George Floyd, suddenly they wouldn't back down. It didn't die off like poor Breonna Taylor, who at this point not many people know who she is, and things
Around
like
the
that,
whole world.
because they get outraged and then they forget about it, and now people are sitting on it and saying you're not forgetting about it. And there has
Yeah,
been
you
more
don't know
positive
how
things
to
on there, because like suddenly something like, you know, Black Panther the movie was was possible. You would have never had a cast of strong black primaries, about 10 years ago. It wouldn't have happened. And now, like, black kids can say, look, there's,
Well,
the
I'm going to
Kachara
correct you.
thing.
I'm going to correct you. I'm going to correct you there slightly, Tiger. You did have films with entirely black casts and black primaries. However, they weren't black films. What the difference with Black Panther is that it's an all black cast, but it's not considered a black film. So Boys
Okay.
in the Hood and Paid in Full, and we've got many examples of predominantly black casts. Tyler Perry with the Medea series. There's thousands of movies that are predominantly black casts, but they're in Hollywood. They were all considered quote unquote black movies.
Right.
Black Panther wasn't. So it was just
Mainstream,
seen as
mainstream. You're right. I was what
it's
I was
seen as
talking
a
about.
mainstream
Yeah, yeah.
movie,
But
and
that's
it wasn't a fucking film about slavery, because the other
right.
films that mainstream that we see is I haven't fucking seen 10 Years a Slave. I'm sick of fucking slave films. I'm sick of seeing
Yeah,
us being treated in disrespect. We know the fucking stories. Jews don't want to see Holocaust movies. I don't want to fucking see slavery movies. Why the fuck do I keep seeing slavery movies every fucking year? You don't. How many? Can you name me 10 Holocaust movies? No, but you could probably come out with 20 slavery movies. Easy. From
I can
from
name probably 5 Holocaust movies. Okay.
right, okay. And that'll
But
probably be it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
That'll probably be it.
yeah,
And that's not the point. It's not to compare with the Jews. I'm just saying
yeah,
that, they don't want to see about that shit, so those
yeah.
films don't get made. But
But
yet we don't want to see about that shit, but those films keep getting made. It's boring. I've enough.
But that,
Enough.
but that's what I meant. Like, it's like mainstream,
Hmm.
and he's a fucking badass. Okay, I mean, T'Challa is he's a he's a hero. He's a superhero. That is something you didn't have that many. Like in the Marvel universe, I've been reading comics since whatever. The black guys were always like the sidekicks, unless it was Aurora, and she was always just pretty, and threw around a little bit of lightning.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, sure, we're gonna have the Marvel conversation. Aurora led the X-Men for quite some time.
yeah.
Also, you have got because I'm deep in Marvel, so be careful if you want to go into this place. And also, you've got Blade. You forgot Blade was actually a Marvel comics
That's true.
title before Storm actually appeared in the her first performance in X-Men. You had Blade already, who was just Oh, and you have Spawn as well. Al
Yeah.
Simmons, the
Oh,
character created by
and you have the
yeah
guy that comes from the future, the one with the M on his face. What was his name again? I forgot. Yeah,
Bishop
Bishop. Yeah.
Bishop.
So yeah, you do
Yeah,
have him, but it's
yeah.
like, but you know what I mean. It's like they never really made it to the movies, did they? Yet now they're slowly but surely
Oh yeah,
doing it.
no, and it
So
is improving. It is improving. But there you go. It's like everything else. I think people have been woken up. I mean, with everything that happened to me in the last year, I think one of the most prevailing sort of leftovers from that was the conversations I had, not only with black people, because black people, we've been talking about race for fucking our whole lives, and we were just I remember Ilmatica, an amazing MC on V Recordings. He kept saying to me, I'm just tired, Chris. Like, do you know what I mean? He's a bit younger than me, but he's just tired. He's just tired of having that conversation. He's tired of talking about race. White people always ask us, why do you always have to talk about race, blah blah. Yeah, we don't want to talk about it either. But this whole George Floyd brought back up all these feelings, brought back up all these issues, brought back up all these the problems and the anxieties and the fears that we have as black people. but that was enough for me. I was sick of feeling those ways,
Yeah.
and I wanted for this to be a more positive outcome, and
Right.
that hopefully we could start to sort of say, actually, black people have got a contribution to society. That's why we should be getting killed because of this and because of that and the other. But yeah, it is what it is. It's what it
Focus
is.
on your great contributions to this world with the great music. And
Yeah,
of course, I
Well,
we
know
that's
should be
it.
we should be playing some of the music because I think some of the
yeah,
audience are waiting. But yes, and Loki is great. The Elemental was saying that. Okay, so let's see what do we have here of your music. The first song that we have on here, let me see, is "Over It." Would you like to tell us a little bit about that one?
About it's called Over It.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's
you
um
told me to pick some music.
no, that's okay.
I went through your music like I would like pick music to DJ. So this is my playlist
Yes.
tonight, made from Chris's music, Chris's tracks, and I hope you enjoy. And I hope you enjoy what I pick.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. Yeah, that's cool because I did say it'd be good to hear what you pick out. Over It. Yeah. So I am a massive Ninth Wonder fan. Ninth Wonder's a producer from South Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina. I think it's North Carolina. I'm not sure. And he's won Grammys with Beyonce, and he's produced underground artists, and he's also sort of obtained a lot of success with overground artists. So I think he's had a couple of tracks on the Lemonade album, and a whole bunch of people. Point is, he's an amazing producer, and there was a period where I was listening to a lot of his productions and kind of working out where he got the samples from, and then basically kind of retooling those into a more drum and bass format. So this was one that I did from that era when I was very heavily influenced by Ninth Wonder. So yeah, I really like this tune as well because it's one of my friend's favorite. My friend Danny Busby, he always goes on about never releasing it because because he wants to keep it on dub plate forever. But I think I did eventually release it, obviously.
All right.
So yeah,
So
yeah. So that's what it is. Yeah.
all right, let's go for it then.
Okay. Cool.
I'm sitting on a green stage where they can put anything they want behind me later.
And
Maybe you
here
guys
we
can
go.
switch that.
Boom. Now, I really like that one.
Yeah, I love it. Let me grab it.
So, where's... I have to drag him back in. You left Chris in the room.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, I'm like in the wrong. I was talking to Elemental just a second ago. Hi, Chris. I'm sorry. That took a moment to get you back into the room. Yeah, I love that track.
Okay.
I love the
Right. Okay.
jazziness
So,
of it.
am I back in the room now? The
You're
production.
back.
Yeah. What we do is we usually throw you back in so that you can listen to the music, and then we bring you back out because, like, in here you can't hear it, so that's why she threw you in there.
Okay. So I was just going to say thank you to all the comments. Is it Abigail? Aya Gabriel? Oh, Aya Gabriel. Yes, thank you, and everyone else that gave their lovely comments to my.
So, as many people know, since we're like nice into the thing, I make an NFT of our guests. So this NFT, I stalked your your Facebook and I saw that you liked He-Man, so I decided to turn you into He-Man. I don't know if you saw it or not, if you like it or not.
I did. It wasn't so much that I liked He-Man. I was just pleased that they were rebooting it. But I did think your Castle Grayskull animation was hilarious. Yes, it was very funny.
So, what I wanted, so the obviously the audience can win, this. So what we usually do is you basically tell them what they have to put into the audience chat to win. So you can say, the first person who puts a flying saucer of a cow waving, a pride flag, or the the next person who, I don't know, has a bottle of hot sauce that is jumping out of the freezer will win this. So what do they have to put into the audience chat to win this NFT?
A screenshot of their favorite Inperspective Records release cover.
That might take a while. So while we're waiting for that,
happens.
while we're waiting for that, we're going to we have 1609 to Ladywell is the next song that we have on there.
Yeah.
So
okay,
would you like to tell us a bit about that while we wait for the screenshot?
So yeah, it might be a little while until we get a screenshot, but we'll see. So that was the train that I used to get home from West. So when I worked at Tate Modern, as a chef. I was a chef for about 7 years, and that was a train that I would usually get home, or I'd be aiming to get home. So I was on that train a lot, and I lived in Ladywell at the time. So yeah, a lot of the tune names are almost like an autobiography, really. When you look on my Spotify, it's quite funny because I remember, what I named and the reason why I named a lot of these tunes, even if they do seem a little bit random. Some of them are very personal, and I probably will never say the reason. And some are just I think are quite hilarious, and I'm happy to tell the reason. But yeah, that was quite a simple one actually. It was just a train I used to get home regularly. So yes, I really like this tune. Bailey played this a few times as well. I was quite pleased when it came out. So yeah.
And we have a winner. Naj.
Oh, is it?
Yes, Naj threw one in. There we see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well, no, that's the wrong label. Inperspective Records, Noz.
Gosh.
Wrong label.
Okay, wrong label.
But it's okay.
Guys.
In INP for Papa. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm blind. Okay, Naj doesn't win. Okay. So let's play the song.
Usually wins.
Naj wins a lot. Junk, but usually before that, Junk Feathers was king. Naj, as of last show, is king. So those two usually battle it out for the NFTs. So there's that.
Right. Okay.
So,
okay.
All right. Cool. So let's listen to the song, and let's see what happens.
Okay. Elemental coming.
Truly losing weight lies in this one little secret.
For some reason, that one had sort of a Disney vibe for me. I don't know why, but it sort of reminded me of that one scene in Alice in Wonderland for some reason with the flowers where they're singing, and I know it's weird. I'm weird, but ah,
Hello.
You can
hi.
hear.
Oh,
Hi. Yeah. Sorry. Did you? Yeah. You had me out of the chat for a while there. Sorry. I couldn't hear anything for a while.
okay, what I was saying is okay, what I was saying is oh, you couldn't hear it in the chat. You couldn't hear it in the oh.
I didn't hear. I was just listening to silence, but I was
Oh, that's
WhatsApping
weird.
with
You
the
were
brother.
supposed to hear the music, actually.
No, I didn't. I didn't. But it's okay. It's cool. I know. I made the tune. It's fine. I've heard it before.
Okay, but what I was saying is that
Always listen to the music on MS Voice. Let me drop the link.
as you know,
Sorry.
as odd as it seems, that one sounded a little bit to me like a Disney tune. I know it sounds crazy, but you know that one thing where Alice in Wonderland runs around and those flowers are singing. That's for some reason that came to mind when I was
That's
listening to that.
brilliant. I love
Yeah,
that.
so yeah, so there's that. I have a
I love the pictures. I love the
yeah.
pictures that music can put into your mind. Sometimes it's a beautiful thing. It's really weird. It's amazing.
I'm a little bit of an odd duck, but,
No, not at all. Not at all. This is evocation. It's just, you should. That's what should happen. When you listen to a piece of music, it should put something into your head. Like I mean, that's the only reason. I mean, it's not the only reason you listen to music, but I think that's one of the main reasons why we do, especially instrumental music, because obviously, if you've got a narrative being sung over something, and you've got a story that's being told in some way or form or fashion, but when it's instrumental, then the listener can make that story up for themselves. So that's exactly what she had. So I don't think that's odd at all. I don't think that's odd at all. That's quite
um,
normal.
since my dog ate my glasses and I have another 2 days until the new pair comes, I cannot see the picture that Elemental put up. Is that the correct? Is that the correct label?
That it is the correct label. Yes, that's the last release on the label. Shaikan Hanzo. Yeah,
So,
Fate World. Yeah,
sorry, Naj, no cookie. This time, Elemental wins.
Congratulations,
Elemental is one.
Elemental.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
fantastic. Elemental gets the NFT then. Yeah,
yes. You
cool, cool,
actually
cool, cool, cool.
get one too if you join Hive because I have one on the side for you, so you'll get
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah, I always give one to the artist as well. But you have Denise will show you how to like join NFT showroom,
Yeah,
but who will actually be sponsoring us starting next after the summer period because they like what we do, so that's good. So
that's
Talking about
great news.
sponsors,
Congrats, guys.
yes, thank you.
sorry. Talking about sponsors, let me get this out real quick. We are officially sponsored by through a audio grant I was um accepted to right now. So you can win audio on the show. We are giving away audio. We are having like short little contests where we ask you to do or post silly things or maybe not silly things into the audience.
Mhm.
For that, an audience account is needed. We're also going to sponsor the Worldwide Cypher Jam with this. So we are upping the prize money. You can win for the first winner. It's going to be 25 audio, but you can find all this information in that post I just dropped into the audience. Yeah, big up audience and big up NFT showroom. Thank you for the sponsorship.
Now, for all the old and decrepit people out there who are maybe listening in and do not know what Audius is a decentralized music platform where you can. It's basically like the decentralized version of SoundCloud, where you actually get paid for your music to be listened to, and the audio
Spotify.
that Denise was talking about is the token that you get, which is a cryptocurrency. So there's that. So you're gonna.
I forgot half the information too, because yeah, actually, you need an audience account to get our audio, and just you even get a sign up incentive from us if you sign up to audience. You can find out how and what you need to do. Also, the information is given in the link I just posted. Yeah, if you have any more questions, reach out. Let me know. But yeah, it would be awesome if you joined the Audius family. It's a platform from musicians, by musicians, for musicians, and yeah, it's a good place to be. So yeah.
That sounds good. Do you have to let me up all this stuff? I know you're telling the audience, but can you make sure you let me know about all this? It all sounds very
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah, we should have a
Mm,
chat because
mm.
yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
it would be great if you had maybe like some of your artists go on there as well, because the good thing about that is they do get money for plays, and even
and
for your label you could do
yeah,
that.
like
It's
it's still developing. It's a developing platform. You can it's kind of like Hive where you can stake your money to. You can buy into it. You can win money through making great playlists, for instance. That's why you don't have to be a musician to join Audius. You can be like a music lover that creates great playlists, and you can win Audius through just being an active member right now. Yeah, just be you, picking the music you love. Yeah. So and the thing is, you grow in tier, and the higher you come in tier, like to get into the bronze tier, you need 10 audio, and with that, you're invited into like a different Discord room where you
Mm.
have like possibility to give your vote when or even come up with changes what you'd like to see in the community. It's like an active community, so this is why I like it so much.
Mm.
There it's still forming, it's new, and I think right now it's not like pay per play. um
Right.
there uh, yeah, because I think there's been so much scam possibilities. It's still developing, and they're figuring it out. So yeah, all the information can be found. I'm going to
work in progress. All can be found in Denise's post on the subject. But as I was trying to say, it's like it's if we want to make the music industry better, we also have to start making it
work.
that accessible to to the people who don't want to be completely caught up in the industry. Like one of the things I've been hiding all my life from the industry, because and that kind of platform allows me to have an audience but not having to do the dog and pony show. That being said, we have another tune called Love Lost, which is yours.
Right.
And
Yeah.
would you like to tell us a bit about that one?
Um. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Probably not. But only because, again, remember I said to you there was some that are quite personal to me,
Okay, so
and that I
that's
probably wouldn't.
personal.
This one, but yeah. So
Yeah.
this was, yeah. So, but the tune itself, I took samples from there's a vocal sample from a film called The Cube, which is The Cube is called, which is a really strange film. Anyone in the chat who's ever seen it, it's like I think it's New Zealand um horror, sort of sci-fi horror about these 6 or 7 people that sort of wake up in a square room,
Oh,
and then
and
there's
they
like,
have to get out. Yeah, I remember that one.
do you remember the film? Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's like a
yeah,
porthole on each, and it's the thing was about prime numbers, and there was like an autistic kid with them, and he could do square roots of prime numbers, and then was
yeah.
able to work out the codes to go through the right door. It was it's very very geeky and mathematician-y, you know what I mean? But it's a great movie. But yeah, that ended up coming out on Modern Urban Jazz, which is a label which the infamous Justice, for Blame and Justice, for those that know, the old school heads. Blame and Justice were on Moving Shadow Recordings, and they also had a seminal album called Icons, which I would highly recommend anyone go listen to if you want to hear the precursor for most sort of modern left field music in drum and bass. Icons by Blame and Justice, fully recommend it. So shout out to Blame and shout out to Justice individually. And yeah, this came out on the Modern Urban Jazz.
We had Blame on the show a few weeks ago.
Yes, we
Oh,
did.
did you? Yeah, comrade, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. And yeah, and he basically he got weird. He first didn't know if he wanted an NFT, so we made him an NFT saying "Blame Comrade for not wanting an NFT," and he loved it. So next time he wants a real one. So
Yeah.
there's that.
He's Mr. Particular is Comrade. He's the only DJ I know to date. And I mean, I don't know if this is true anymore, but when years ago, so he actually is quite important in my career because he was the reason I called myself Chris Inperspective, because I was thinking of calling myself something else, and then we were in Slovenia, and he mentioned that people kind of got to know me on the forums as Chris at Inperspective. And so he was sort of the one that sort of encouraged me not to change my name and keep it as Perspective, which I always got to give him props for. And he was also the first guest at Technicality. First ever Technicality guest was Blame, and then I think Bailey was the second.
It's,
Paradox was the third. Those were the first three Technicalities we ever, which Technicality, sorry, being the night that we started in 1999 to promote the label that was started in 1997. Hence why next year's.
yeah, we were talking to him about how people are like weirdly connected. It's like, you know, I mean, like how we just met, and like we met and things like that, and how things happen like at fate, like, you know, that things will put everything in place, that you write the perfect piece of music or the perfect people just drop in front of your feet and all that good stuff.
Well, you're talking about how weird meetings. Denise messaged me for the first time. I never met this or spoken to this woman. I'm lying in a hospital bed. I was in Guy's Hospital at the time, about 5 years ago, and Denise messaged me at like 4 a.m. or something. And it seems really like a bit dodgy, but I don't know if do you remember? Do you remember doing that?
I was in Japan at the time, so it probably wasn't 4 in the morning for me. But yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was mental, but we had a really lovely conversation. It wasn't, and for anyone listening, it wasn't like a flirty thing, or you know what I mean. It wasn't like, hey, what are you up to? It wasn't like that one. You would know because you would no, because I'll tell you what it was. Because I'll never forget. Because you had seen that I was in hospital, and you were just reaching out as someone that didn't know me at all, but just to kind of sort of say, you know, I hope you're all right, and I hope you get better. I mean, it was literally that, and it was just the most beautiful. And I'll never ever forget that, and it was always really, really welcome at a very, very difficult time of my life. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
So it wasn't like, you know, Misery, where she kept you in the bed and like dragged you away from you. Yeah.
No.
I'm just kidding because you said weird, you know, like whatever. Yeah, he woke up in a bed and it was Denise who said, "I shall feed you."
Yeah.
No. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Love Lost. Okay, here's Love Lost.
Cool. Am I going to hear it this time?
I hope so.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my
Lavo
goodness.
costs $200.
Oh my god.
Our version only costs $39.
I wish we wouldn't have ones with.
A tesseract. A tesseract.
I always thought time was considered to be the fourth dimension.
A tesseract. A tesseract.
So, where is he? So, man.
I'll grab him. Are you able to hear now?
Were you able? Did you hear us?
Yes, you back. Yeah, I was just listening to that back, and I was like, shit, the main synth thing, that main chord, I should have turned. It should have been louder.
Okay. Question answered then already.
Okay.
Because yeah, I guess we all do it. It's like, oh my gosh, I could have done that. And
I could,
you know,
this is in fact, it's like fuck. Because everything else sounds about right, and then it's just that first whoa, 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 whoa. It just needs to be a bit. It just needs to be louder. That's all it needs to be. Just like 5 dB louder, it'll be fine. But it's fine. It's all right. It doesn't matter. And maybe the vocals.
Well, you can always do the revised version and put it out like.
Oh
you
no,
know,
I've lost that project file. No, that was on an old
Yeah.
computer. So I've been very much since I don't even think I did that on Ableton. I think that was on Logic 5.5. So like so I had a PC that I was using up to maybe 9 years ago before Jacob was born. So at least 9-10 years ago. And I was using Logic, maybe about 12 years ago actually. Yeah, I was using Logic 5.5. I wrote that quite a long time.
So talking about personal,
Yeah.
how did little Chris come up and think, I'm going to own a record label one day? So, like, I mean, where was the seed planted?
He's like,
It was so.
you.
I've said this a few times. Most of the best things I've done in my life, with the exception of Jacob, were born out of anger. And um, In Perspective Records was started out of annoyance at the scene, plain and simple. So it wasn't that I had aspirations to start a label. I just was pissed off that at the time when 1997, when sort of like the tech step era came in, right? And you know, you up until that point you heard sort of breaks and chop beats, and and by the way, I don't have a problem with tech stack. Nico is a hero of mine. I absolutely love No U-Turn, the early Ed Rush and Optical, all those guys, Forces Electric, all that early tech step stuff, Trace, Mutant Jazz, all that. Love all of it. Don't have a problem with any of it. But what happened was when that movement came into the scene, it was like everyone was doing that. Oh, everyone was only interested in that. And it was like, well, we got all this other stuff that we can do. So why don't we do, some of this other shit? You know what I mean? That was happening up until that point. So like the more chop breaks and the stuff that's become synonymous with In Perspective Records. Um, and so it's something that I was sitting in a office. I was working with Marlon Equinox, who you may know as. We were working together at this place called Leatham's Larder in an area called Camberwell in South East. We sat opposite each other. I'd been working there for some time, and I got Marlon the job there. And then we were ended up working together. It was great fun. And just at one point, we were just sort of talking about how annoying it was that no one's putting out any sort of like chopping shit anymore. You know what I mean? That it was like that we'd had I bought Paradox and different people and all these sort of artists, Source Direct and all this sort of stuff. Bowtech, Danny Breaks, all the artists that I absolutely loved, and I was buying all this stuff on vinyl, and didn't seem to be. It all sort of seemed to sort of die off in our eyes, or at least we didn't really hear it out that much. You had Speed, which was Fabio and Bookham's night, and so you heard a bit of it there, and obviously there was an element of it at Blue Note, but it wasn't what we wanted to hear, which was the more sort of ethereal kind of, like the Source Direct, Certificate 18, that sort of all that kind of area. And then prior to that, there was like Face Records and people like that. But I could sit here and list off a whole bunch of labels, but essentially there was a sound that we were both into that we weren't hearing anymore, and we didn't feel was being represented anymore. And so I remember saying specifically, I said, well, maybe I should start a label. We should start a label. And in the end, it was kind of just me, and I don't know, Marlon won't mind me saying that, because, if we started it together, that would have been the case, but it wasn't quite that. It was just, we had the idea together, but I had the stupidity to put my money into it. So I remember saying, as long as we keep things in perspective, we should be fine, and we should, be able to have some fun. And then Marlon was like, oh, that'd be a good name for the label. And I remember how the conversation went. So I've always got to kind of credit Marlon Equinox for kind of naming the label without, I said it, but he kind of went, that's what you should call the label. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right. And it's like, so it was, I've always got to credit Marlon for that. And then the logo that we have now, that has to be credited to ASC as well, because he was like one of the early artists on the label, and he kind of come up with the concept of that eye, the square eye, which incidentally, my beautiful 9-year-old son has just done a animation of, which I'm going to probably get put up somewhere soon. But he just managed to do this animation based on the In Perspective logo. It's absolutely brilliant. So I'm so proud of him.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. He's got a program called Flipper Clip. Amazing. And he just does these really clever little animations. On my Instagram list, there's a few of them that he does, and he's getting so good at it. He's getting really good at it. But anyway, that said, that's where the idea for the label. I never really sort of grew up thinking, I want to start a record label. It just was like, it came out of an annoyance and frustration at the scene, and I just wanted to do something about it. And then 2 years after that, the night, Technicality 99 started, because then we realized that no one wanted to support what we were doing, so we had to kind of create our own little scene again. And there wasn't anyone else playing this stuff, so I said, well, look, fuck it, let's just find a club and see if we can find somewhere. And there was a club called Herbal that in East London, Shoreditch in East London, and they agreed to have us there for 2 years, and then very unceremoniously threw us out. It was horrible because we had because we were going to do a December one, and then this new promotions manager came in and just called me up and said, "Yeah, your night's not needed anymore." And I was like, "Okay, but all right, so can we just do our next night and then we'll call it a day?" He was like, "No, you got to go out. We've got another night booked for your thing." And it's like, and we had Marla of Digital Mystics booked to play, which is really annoying. It really annoys me that I never got a chance for him to play that. He was going to come and play a jungle set, and he never did. It's really pissed me off because then he obviously went on to become a superstar. And then, like, if I tried to book him now, it's like probably 15 grand. But yeah, it's just annoying. Like, just never got a chance to. But we had D-Bridge play. We had Ray Keith, Brett Clever. He came over from the States. Representative Clute played. Jesus, Bailey's. Like I said, Paradox did his first ever London performance there. Trying to think who else. God, there was quite a few. We had Justice and Blame, the New Directions boys, guys for a label called New Directions from Birmingham. Nookie, I remember Nookie come down. He played. Oh, and there was a night when when like Photech showed up, because it sort of became like, at the height of it, like everyone was there. So because it was like the new underground, everyone was like, "Well, this is two crazy black guys that put on this night where they're playing crazy left field drum and bass in Shoreditch," and there was a lot of cool people starting to turn up. And I remember the night when like it was like Remark and Photech turned up on the same night, like just to see what was going on. That was a pretty head fucking moment, and I didn't even know what to say to Photech because I admired him so much. I was such a fan.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
And but the thing is, I just introduced myself and I just sort of said, I don't know what to say. Thanks for coming. That's all I said. I didn't know what to say to him. It's like, we're not going to become pals. Like, what am I going to say to him? Like, really, what I wanted to do was kidnap him and hide him in my dungeon. Like, but it's like it's like we will be friends. You know what I mean? Play modus operandi every day.
Well,
But
at least you didn't vomit on his shoes or something like that out of you like, hello, oh god, yeah. So at least that,
But there's been a couple of moments in over my years where I've met people I've met people that I've obviously really admired, and people say, and I hate it when people go, "Oh, I don't get starstruck." You're a fucking liar. Like, if there's someone whose art really means a lot to you, like if you meet the person that created that art, it has to mean something. Otherwise, you don't really care about that person's art, right? Whether they're a DJ or a producer or whatever. It really annoys me when people try and give it the big one and try and be too cool for school and say, I just think this person's amazing. It's just, I think that says more about you than it does about them. And but at the same time, I've always been wary of meeting someone who I admire and then them ending up being a bit of an arsehole, because then that way I'll probably won't enjoy their art anymore. So there's an artist called Lone, Lone, and I remember seeing him standing outside a bar in Hackney Wick, and I just had this feeling he was a bit of a dick. And so I just had a hunch. The way he looked at me, he didn't want to be approached. So I just was like, and I guess most people don't, but I guess if you do, they will then deal with it in a certain way, right? So I didn't, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I still can listen to his music now and really enjoy it. Because I think if he'd been asked to me, then I probably wouldn't be able to listen to his music anymore.
Although, sometimes reining them in does, help as well. I mean, it's not like I really, was completely starstruck or whatnot, but I used to work in this place called John Michael's, which was like, a high-end boutique, and Guns N' Roses came in, and they completely trashed the place, and then they wanted to get out, and I just stood in the doorway and I said, "Nope, you're gonna clean it up." And like my boss was like, "No," and I was like, "You're gonna clean it up," and the boys went and they cleaned it up, but they needed somebody to tell. You know, whether
Yeah, no, but that's different, and you know, and you, there might have been something about the way you presented yourself and imposed yourself in that situation,
yeah,
which really worked, right? So that's great, and that's great, and credit to you. I just think for the most part, you know, there's a choice. I mean, because look, I'm not by any stretch, I would never consider myself like super well known, right, or even, you know, particularly well known. I know that
yeah,
in a very, very small subset of a very small part of the dance music um, universe, you know, I have a level of notoriety. You know, I'll be naive if I didn't at least admit to that. So if I go to a night like Rupture, for example, there's a lot of people there that know who I am, and a lot of people come up and say hi and whatever. And I don't think it's that big a deal just to be just to be polite.
right.
Now, sometimes I haven't been that polite because I'm not in the mood um, to be, you know, sort of be spoken to or whatever.
Right,
But
right, but
there's
that's you wanting your privacy and not being, you know, an asshole. What I mean with
yeah,
asshole is trashing the place and then trying to get out of it, you know. And so,
that's
you know,
yeah.
so there's a
Yeah, that's no,
difference.
that's a completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a completely different scenario. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean that's them being deliberately being a dick.
yeah,
I'm just merely saying. But the thing is, if I don't want to, you know, like if I don't want to have that experience of talking to a lot of people, I just probably just don't go to Rupture. That's the thing. You know, if it's on, and I'm not in the mood because I know what I'm in for. If I go, I tend then not to go if I'm not in the mood to have a conversation. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to speak to lots of people, but I can't really go and not speak to a lot of people, but I think a lot of people go there and speak to a lot of people. I don't think it's really particularly down to me that happens. I'm not the only
I
person that happens to. So,
I think it always
but
I think it always comes up to honesty. Like if you
yeah,
tell
sure,
somebody like,
yeah,
look, I've had like a really crappy day. I'm not like, you know, rain check, maybe we'll meet again, but like today, please
mm,
don't. That's fine. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and that will with 99% of the people, you know, they'll bugger off, and then you have the few crazies that will do it anyway, and then you can be an asshole and tell them get the fuck out of my face, you know. But
yeah, yeah.
but the thing is, you know,
I just
people often forget that, you know, people that have no notoriety or what they perceive to be notoriety are just normal people like everyone else. And you know, would you like to have somebody sitting in your bathroom, you know, and taking pictures of you, or would you like to have somebody sitting underneath your table and saying, please talk to me? You know, no, you don't.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, like
No,
no, you know. And the more notoriety you have, the more crazes are there, you know, waiting in the bushes. And you know that. So, you know, people just need to understand that, you know, you don't have the right of a slice to someone just because, you know, their face is out there. You know,
yeah,
you just don't. And that's
no, you don't, and it's something I've always been quite wary of when meeting people, you know, in the scene. There's some people that I quite enjoy pretending that I don't know who they are though. Like so it's sort of there's certain individuals, particularly in drum and bass, that I've been in situations where I know who that person is, but I just pretend I don't know. Like I just totally blank on them if someone says, "Oh, who's that?" And I say, "I don't know who he is," and I'll be like, I did it to this one particular artist in Fabric Green Room, and he got perturbed by it. It was really funny because he was sort of like, "What do you mean you don't know who I am?" I was like, "I don't know who you are, mate," because he was overhearing me being quite loud and obnoxious. I was a bit drunk, and I knew who it was. And then someone says, "Oh, be careful, you know, you're about to bounce, blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh, who is he?" Like, you know, one of them ones. And he sort of turned around and was like, "Well, you don't know who I am," and it bothered him that I didn't know who he was. You know, like
Maybe he
that
looks
was.
up to you.
but you know that's
Say
a
again.
Maybe he looks up to you. Maybe he did look up to
No, he didn't know who I was. He didn't know who I was. So he didn't know who I was. He just thought I
us.
was someone in the green room who somehow, how the hell could I not know who he is? Because he was headlining that night
Okay,
in room one.
I
So
understand.
he was like surprised that there was someone in the room that had never heard of him. But he actually picked up on what I was saying and you know, confronted me about it. And I was like, no, I haven't heard of you, mate. Like, why should I have? Do you know what I mean? He's, oh, well, you know, I've just been around for a while, man. You know, a lot of people have heard of me. I said, well, I haven't.
you
What
see
have you done?
that you see that's when people start, that's when they need to have like a little slap on the fingers. When you run around thinking
I
everybody needs to know you, that's when you know you need an ego check. You know, you need to go to the island and meditate, because that's not
I would
healthy.
fully agree. I think the thing is though, it's difficult because if you're having, you know, like for example, you know, obviously I worked at Hospital Records for 2 years, and you know, some of those artists are very good at dealing with their situation, because they're all professional musicians. Those guys, for example, none of them necessarily have to have jobs like to supplement the money they make from being a hospital artist. So, it's easy for it to get to their heads. And it's only really one or two individuals there, I would argue, that it kind of really has. Um, but the rest, for the most part, are quite, grounded. And I think they've always got people around them that keep them grounded. And I've saw many cases their groups of friends would keep them grounded and such like. But certainly in some of the med school, because obviously me and Dexter, my good friend Dexter, Chris Dexter, um, we ran med school together. So the med school artists definitely, in that sense, were a little bit more grounded. And we enjoyed taking the piss out of them, just for that reason. Like, you know what I mean? Because we didn't really want to have to deal with any kind of prima donna energy. Well, I didn't want to have to deal with it. But maybe one or two of the hospital artists were a little bit more like that. But they kind of avoided me. Because I think the most prima donna of prima donnas on that label didn't really come near me. He didn't. It's obviously he, because they're all mostly my life. But yeah, he didn't come near me. It's interesting. And maybe it's because he knew that I wouldn't, kind of flop down in front of him like everyone else did. But I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is like a therapy session now.
So
Um,
our audience needs to listen to some more music of yours. I have
Yeah,
here
but
one
we
called
give away some audio too soon.
so
let's listen to another.
which one? Sorry?
Forest Chills is the next one in line.
Oh, Forest Hills. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's just a play on Forest Hill, which is an area near where I, sort of brought up, in Brockley, southeast London, famously where Remark is from as well, SE4. So people might have heard of the Loafing in Brockley remix of RIP. That Brockley, that's an area in southeast London. That's where I'm from. So yeah, that's all that is really. It's just this one actually just sort of more of a nondescript tune. I think this is like a sort of Booker Me thing, if I remember correctly. I can't remember.
All right, so Forest Chills it
Yeah.
is. Let's hope that
Yeah,
there's
cool.
no. There it is. Oh my goodness! Again, the ads on this thing. There we go.
Okay.
Ring. Drag him into.
Yeah. I love the diversity of like the
No.
tracks you put out.
Sorry,
So,
say that again. I missed the first bit. Sorry.
I
no,
said I love the diversity of like your tracks you put out. You know, sometimes jazzy and the changes you put in within the tracks as well. You know, like
Oh, thank
sometimes
you.
the good change, totally switching it up. Yeah, I like the technicality in this one, just playing, and yeah, the jazziness. You always put in jazz somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Different periods of my music making life, I've been influenced by different things. So I guess at that period, I think I was sampling Justin Timberlake actually, if I remember correctly.
That's
So
cool.
I don't know where. Yeah, those. Yeah, that's. But it's something that's the jazz element's definitely been something that my label has explored very much. Some of the releases on there, and yeah, it's something that's always been part of what I'm about. I love jazz breaks. I don't always necessarily like. Well, no, that's not true. I like jazz music, and I think there's some quite cheesy jazz though. I like the more sort of slightly more freeform experimental shit. Or at least not necessarily experimental, but just what most people might consider.
just don't say fusion. Do not say fusion. Please don't say fusion.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sorry to let you down slightly, Tiger, but technically speaking, Level 42, which is one of the bands that I used to love as a kid, they're technically a jazz fusion band.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So. I mean, not all. I mean, Weather Report, the jazz fusion. I mean, are we hating on Weather Report? I don't know. I think they're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's good and bad in every genre.
My
That's what I'll say.
one of my best friends, Jenny, she dated Gary Husband for a while, and she dragged me to all these concerts. So and some of them I liked, and some of them I was like, no, not mine,
Yeah,
not mine, not mine. But when it comes to
yeah,
jazz, I'm just old school jazz, like old 1920s, 1930s girl. It's just I can't help
sure.
it. So I'm weird though in my tastes because I love old school jazz, but I also love Nine Inch Nails. So that's
Yeah, I mean,
that,
well,
So
I, I think most rational, reasonable people. Here's my thing: if someone doesn't like music, it's almost like they're missing a soul. Like I don't understand a person that doesn't listen to music or play.
I've never met anyone who
I
actually says
have,
they hate
I have.
music.
No, I have. I've met two people in my 45 years. One, no, I can't. I can't. Well, I can tell about one, but not the other, because one was a short-term girlfriend of a very well-known artist of mine. I was like, how the hell have you met a woman that doesn't like music? And he just, yeah, that didn't last long. But he's a producer, and he met this woman, and he didn't like music. I met her as well. And I said,
So
what do you mean? So you just to
what?
nothing. So but that's what I'm saying. I was questioning her. So I was like, she goes, yeah, because so what happened? You listen to music? Oh, it just annoys me. I just don't want to listen to any of it. And then the other person was I can talk more about, but this is an ex-girlfriend of mine, and it was her dad. And like he lived in this place just outside Darlington, which is like very far into the north of England, just before Scotland. And I went up there for a weekend, and it's like if I was from New York and then I was going to, Arkansas. No, not Arkansas, Mississippi. Yeah. Like I'm from the Bronx and I'm going to Mississippi. Yeah, that's what this was in terms of like cultural. Do you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
So
You
so
know what I
he wasn't pleased about me being with his daughter in the first
yeah.
place. Yeah. Right. So and he literally used to tell her as a kid. She used to tell me this. Like, he used to drive me nuts. He went and her mum used to say if she didn't behave just in general, that the black man will come and take her at night.
Oh my
Like as in a blue.
goodness. I can't.
This is a woman I
You should,
dated for anyway.
yeah, oh my
So so so
God.
I've gone to the house. I'm sat around the table, and he's like, he sort of starts sort of interrogating me about my interest in music, because I was like maybe 20, yeah, about 22 at the time. I was quite young, 22, 23 at the time. And he's sort of going, so Claire, oh shit, fuck. name, but so and so tells me that you're involved in music. Like the way he sort of said it, it was like, oh geez, it's like I was involved with devil worship. You know what I mean? And it's like, so involved in music. And so I was like, well, yeah, yeah. And he goes, what sort of music is it you listen to? And I remember looking at him at the end of the table. I'm sitting next to her mum, and he's at the other end of this big long table, and he's staring down the table right at me. And big ruddy faced guy, grey hair, piercing blue eyes, right? I'd never forget it. And he's saying, so what's and I said, well, it's called jungle. What do you mean jungle music? What is it, from the jungle? He's like, no,
God.
just that's what they call it. It's the form of electronic music. Yeah, well, and he leans forward as if to make his point. Well, I don't like music very much. Right? I was like, what do you mean you don't like music? I said, what, nothing? You don't like music at all? He goes, no, don't like it. Never interested me. And then, like, as if to back it up, I look at his wife. I said, like, yeah, no, we've never been dancing or anything ever. It's like, oh my God, you poor woman. You know what I mean? You can all of a sudden I can
His
see
emotion, because music can be really touch you right there where and it
the,
can make you
the,
happy, and maybe he just
of course.
needs
But
the
the thing
maybe
was, no, but the thing
happy
was, no,
describe. And I'm
no, but I've got to finish. Sorry, I've got to say this. Sorry, because the moment though, when I said to the wife, uh, my girlfriend's mother, I said, like, is this true? That's true. And she said, yeah, we've never been. That was the first thing she said. We've never been dancing or anything. Now, I'm trying to think, why did you marry this man then? Because it's clear that you really wanted to go dancing. Like, do you know what I mean? And then I started, it spun me out in this whole other, like, alternate existence where she actually just said, no, I'm not going to marry you, you fucking boring bastard. Go and find some music that I like, and maybe I'll talk to you again. You know what I mean? Or something like that. And then he might have been a nicer person. But I just always felt like because he didn't like music, that's why he was such an arsehole.
So was it
It's weird.
something
it's
religious? I mean,
No,
like,
it wasn't. I don't think. No, I don't think it was related to religion per se. I just think he just didn't like music. He just didn't.
I can't fathom it. I mean, I do know that there are a few sects around here where they say music is only in the church, and then outside of it, it's devil worship, and you're not supposed to listen to it. They do have a few crazies around here that do it that way, but
Yeah.
but they still
Well, in Islam,
have the church music, right? So I mean,
you do have that, but also more interestingly, I learned fairly recently, to be honest, that in Islam they're not technically allowed to listen to music. Like that they can listen to someone else singing, but they can't necessarily listen to someone else playing an instrument. They don't. It's seen as like too enjoyable. I can't remember the exact. Sorry, anyone that's Muslim
oh
listening.
wow.
But but it's true. I'm not making this up. It's something that someone that I used to work with, explained to me. So then he introduced me to these boys in East London who love hip hop and R&B and stuff. What they do, they use their voices to make backing tracks, and then like to sort of a cappella, like sing everything out, and then they obviously pull it together in their software or whatever, and then they rap on top of that. And it's quite amazing because obviously you can hear that it's someone's voice, but that's sort of like a loophole around the Quran in order to enjoy some music. So it just goes to show the importance of it in people's lives. Like they found a way to listen to music without like
In the Bible
seemingly
they say
upsetting.
women are not allowed to sing. Like women are not allowed to play music because it offends God. So they're not supposed to talk or sing in the church, and that's why actually for a very long time, all the sopranos were either people who were castrated or little
Yeah,
boys. So that's where
yeah.
that came from, because women were not allowed
See,
to sing.
there you go.
So
That's why we haven't got more women producers. The Bible's fault. That's the
most likely. Okay,
Fair enough.
let's play one more tune that we have.
Cool.
This is one's called Sisters. You want to tell us about that one?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that one's again from that period of time when I was kind of heavily influenced by Ninth Wonder, and there's a track that he obviously sampled. Like I said, I used to either try and get it from the Ninth Wonder thing, or go and find the original tune and resample it. So I can't remember which I did in this instance, but I quite like this one. It might be a bit muddy, but I remember liking this one. It's a bit boring though, so you don't have to play the whole thing. But You know, but it's good fun. Yeah, I like this tune.
All right, so Sisters it is.
Thank you.
And we've lost Chris for some reason.
Rebooting, or maybe.
Okay, he says he is here, but okay, hang on. Oh my goodness, where'd she go?
But hey, we could do this right now. Like, who wants to win some audio? I mentioned you need to have like an Audius account for that. But if you sign up, you get like a sign up incentive from us, One Tribe
Was that?
Radio.
What is that?
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Sorry.
Oh, good. So guys, yeah, I'd like to see a dancing goose, please, if you want to win
Mhm.
audio. So please, a dancing goose. And to sign up again, you need an Audius account. You get 5 Audius from us to if you sign up. So the rules are: send me your account. If you have if you
Nope,
are an artist,
a winner.
upload a song. Yeah, Junk Feathers. He's another another yeah, all-time winner. It's him or Naj.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. They always fight for the title of who wins. And the occasional other people get like a little crumb of everything, but those two are like nuclear when it comes to that.
your audio account, your receiving account on your Audius. I think you are on Audius already. So, yeah, I need that then, Junk Feathers. You won 2 audio. Congratulations.
We have to put them into the Thunderdome. You know, like Chunk Feathers and Naj fight to the death. 2 go in, 1 comes out. No.
One of that one comes out.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. So we're slowly coming to a close here.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
Cool.
I really need to give away. This is like a condition I need to really get over with. So we have 2 more giveaways from 4 audio. Um, so guys, what should we do to have people win 4 audio? It's 2 times. Now we have 2 times. We're like, oh, the show went over so fast today. It's like crazy. I still have some audio to give away. So come
okay.
on,
All right.
Chris.
So,
What should we ask the people to do?
Who? Oh,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
What should they win some audio?
What are you asking me? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't quite hear it. Sorry, it cut out a little bit. Sorry. Um, I would I would like to see somebody going backwards on roller skates.
Somebody going backwards on roller skates. You
Yeah.
win audio, peeps. Put it into the audience chat. And you, Tiger, what's the next one people have to do if they want to win for audio?
get a picture of a knitting cow.
Okay.
Oh,
A knitting
what?
cow?
A knitting
A, knit,
cow. A
a
cow.
knitting
A
cow.
knit,
Yes, a knitting cow.
The
a
backwards
knitting
going
cow. A cow that's knitting.
person
Yeah,
on
a
roller
cow that's
skates.
knitting. Correct. And while we do that,
Okay.
Chris, any new projects coming up?
Oh, I have a few more links to share because you are into like you need to come back. There's like so much to talk about still because you have like so much
Yeah.
going and very inspirational, by the way. But yeah, Aloysia Records, for instance, Heresy Beats,
Yeah.
Rand's Records. You are like founder of Clash Mouth and
Yeah.
also of like where is this? Yeah, Black
Right.
Junglist Alliance.
Alliance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so awesome stuff. So much to talk about. So yeah, we definitely need you to come back. But yeah, what's up in the near future? So what are you up to?
So the main focus at the moment has been is obviously we had a pretty interesting year last year. We put out a lot of really good music on both the labels you mentioned, and we started Reveries as well, which is another arm to the family of labels. Uh, this year we've got again a bit of an issue with vinyl. Well, not again. Sorry, this year we've got an issue with vinyl this year. So because In Perspective is so vinyl heavy, it means that most of our releases are now going to get concertinaed into the back end of this year. So you're gonna see a quick succession of vinyl releases and In Perspective towards the end of the year. So save your money, guys. And but on Eloisa, we're gonna start releasing again with a whole bunch of incredible sort of like dance floor based drum and bass. Whereas In Perspective is definitely more experimental and not so rooted on the dance floor. Although some of the releases coming, I would argue, would work tremendously well on the dance floor. So Adred is an artist we've got coming up on In Perspective. That goes into Dissident. He's done an album for us. Profane has done an album for us. And then an old boy who's coming back, Polska, is doing an EP and is also working on an album. We expect to see our first Technicality compilation hopefully later on this year. And like I say, on Eloisa, we've got a whole bunch of new music from some incredible artists, but that's more geared for the dance floor. So once events comes back, once we start doing events and everything again, and not just us, but everyone in general, that'll be a better time to get Eloisa going.
Yeah.
So we expect to see Eloisa coming back around sort of end of July,
I'm very
August,
excited about that
and
because
the
I like.
same, and end of July, August for both labels, actually, to be honest.
Hey, and we need to talk about that maybe. Me getting on your label. So since you brought it up,
Send me some music, Denise.
yeah, I got some stuff to share with you. I really want to bring out like soon. So yeah, that might be
Okay,
a
please
possibility.
send me some music.
And will there be a female drum and bass contest in the near future?
You see, it's fun. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I saw a post from Sweet Pea. I don't know, Denise, you might have saw that post. Did you see her post on Facebook
I have not.
recently? Yeah, so she was sort of listing out, you know, she sort of basically broke down that, I'm a female DJ. I know that a lot of you want to do stuff and change the better and start getting more women involved. But here's a list of things what not to do, in her opinion. And one of them was doing the outreach thing and saying we're looking for women or doing a competition for women only. She's just basically saying put the work in and go and find them. And I kind of agree, like, for the most part. But so yeah, I think I'm gonna
It's out
talk
there
to her.
today, so people, women,
Sorry, say again.
women, or female humans,
Yeah,
of like a different gender it could be a different gender, it could be non-gender, it doesn't really matter, I guess, but something
sure.
else that Chris wants something else but only men on his label. So come on, get with it and like send him some music. You're out there. We know.
Good. Please.
I
Please.
think that
I
I think that Naj won both audience things.
Again.
Yes, both of them though. Look at that. Backwards.
Oh, I need your
roller skate.
audio address then.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah. See, we do need to build the Thunderdome. So back to the contest thing. Okay, so no contest.
don't know if that's a cow knitting. I think that's a dog. I think you're right.
Actually, was a dog.
It's something, but it could be a cow.
I don't really feel like that's a cow. I don't feel that's cow-like enough. But I like the effort, Nudge.
Well,
Like
we
the effort, you
have
started.
like another like 2 minutes, and then because we always go out on a song, or we could
Sure.
we could break with tradition and just talk and until they kick us out. But
And we're gonna be gone now for a month. We're gonna return on the 7th of August. We haven't put anything out there yet. We still are planning our comeback with like some specialties and greatness. So keep your eyes peeled because I'm going to be posting. Other than that, have a great summer. We love you.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
listening.
that's a knitted cow. That's
that,
a cow that's knitted, but it's not a knit. It's a cow knitting.
Naughty one, Naj.
this is so weird.
So I love them all. You're amazing.
This is brilliant. I feel not just trying so hard, man. It's just like he wants all the prizes. He wants to win everything.
Let's
It's like, well, can I say maybe that you award somebody else one of the prizes at least to spread it around a bit.
If they post a cow, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
One cow. Just like make it what did you say you wanted to have a knitting cow?
yeah.
Just post a cow about 4 minutes. We're gonna go out with a song. I'm gonna
Yeah.
write it down, and you're gonna get we're gonna okay it in writing. So hey, have a great summertime.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on.
Yes,
It
have a
was an
good,
absolute
yeah, great summer. And Frank, no,
And
we're
thank
not.
you guys.
Frank, we're going out with the song by Chris today because this is that weren't doing Bring Your Own Tune this week, but bring it after the summer. Bring it, and all that good stuff. We'd love to see you guys again. I could take a picture of a cow every day, the image of something being knitted, but I'm not as fast as that. That's true. Well, well, if no one brings another cow by the end of this song, then Naj will win the audience because, at least there was an effort made. All right. So, Chris, please come back. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It was really good fun. I really
And
enjoyed it.
yeah, so see you guys after the summer break. Thank you for, putting up with us in our madness. The last song we are going to play is let's see, what do we have? That sounds nice. Dragons in the World.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going out with Dragons in the World. Love you guys.
Cool.
Denise, anything else you want to say?
Nope.
No.
That's all.
All right.
I'll post what we've written. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Peace. Thanks, everyone.
I walk because
And
I
oh my
had
god.
leukemia
Okay, there
in
we go again.
2019. I walk in
I need an ad blocker.
And how does one slay dragons in the world today? By realizing that their fiery breath is blasted into the minds of men. But these dragons are very clever, as is their master. They have so destroyed the power of the intellect so as to make men think they don't exist.